Shortly after we created Bonsai Pop, I said something that I have reiterated many times over our short existence. Anime is punk rock cartoons. It's something that I saw resonate with our audience, and ever since then, this video has been churning in my mind. And I figured now was as good a time as any to make sure that we got this video out. Happy New Year! This is the last week in December, this first weekend in January, meaning this is the last Bonsai Pop video of 2020. And it has been a crazy year in every facet of the phrase. I mean, the channel has been up and down. Once we made a stand with Afro Samurai in June, we almost lost the channel entirely. If it wasn't for our patrons keeping us afloat, it would have been a very difficult summer. And on top of that, thanks to the virus, we've been watching the world burn around us, and it just keeps going. But thankfully, we managed to make a comeback in October with Hellmouth, and then in November with Shonember, and the channel is back where we want it to be. But hi, I'm Mike, and welcome to a very special video. Today we're going to be looking into anime, punk rock, and how they go hand in hand, and especially what that means coming into this new decade. This is anime, this is punk rock cartoons. Let's get into it. So I know this is usually where we do a pitch. All I'm asking today is that you stay till the end of the video for some very, very important information and a special surprise from us. Please, thank you, and on with the show. So my whole life I knew I was going to be a rock star. I was going to be a rock star by 23. It was something I had absolutely no doubt about, but obviously it didn't happen, so let's back up a little bit. It's hard to quickly explain what life was like in the 90s. It seemed so modern back then, but now when you look back on it, it's like viewing another planet. I myself was born and raised in the middle of fucking nowhere, Massachusetts, and I was a little bit of a problem child. My parents had a leash for me. I was that kid. At the time, there was this rampant superstition about how media was going to turn your kid into some violent criminal. We had things like Mortal Kombat coming out. It was freaking parents out, and it was a great time for a little bit of neoconservatism, and I was the poster child for needs to be censored. That meant no Power Rangers, no fighting games, no Green Day. I'm not allowed was my catchphrase until I was like 16. I'm sure you can imagine how a kid who needed a literal leash dealt with that kind of domination. The answer is poorly. Frankly, I was miserable. I had very low self-esteem, and I didn't feel like I was able to fit in with other kids. But thankfully, one day my uncle took pity on me, and he showed me this whole new world of punk music and skateboarding and horror movies. He let me play any game I wanted to. I'd read the Thrasher magazines I borrowed from him as I listened to the CDs that he would make for me, and then when I was 10, he took me to see the Misfits in this dive bar in Connecticut, and that was it. That's when I decided I was gonna be a rock star, dude. At the same time, anime, particularly Toonami, was beginning to make a splash, and I was familiar with the style only because I used to watch as much Sailor Moon as I could early mornings. And thanks to Deke censoring the shit out of it, my mom really didn't have any problems with it, even though there was technically violence, people fighting bad guys and whatnot. And for kids my age at the time, the big three were Pokemon, Digimon, and Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z was like an awakening. It was something you'd never seen before, and my mom didn't really care too much about it. She had eased up on cartoons a little bit, and mostly it was because she had no idea what anime could get away with. And I swear DBZ had me at frame 1. It was one of those things that was just mind-bending. Like the first time you played the N64, the first time that you saw Star Wars, it was big, muscly dudes beating the absolute shit out of each other, throwing fireballs, turning Super Saiyan. The US dub had this awesome rocking theme song. It was something I couldn't even have wished for in my wildest dreams. It was fast, it was hard, it was in your face, and then I became that kid. Some of you guys might remember baggy jeans, puffy skate shoes, and DBZ Hawaiian silk like button-down t-shirts. Yeah, that was like my uniform for 3 years. I even got my hair cut in the back into a triangle, like Trunks. Like I forced my mom to do it, and everybody at school made fun of me, but I didn't give a shit, dude. It was DBZ. And growing up in a small country town, I mean, I already didn't fit in. I didn't play sports. I wasn't born in the town like a lot of people were, so I was kind of ousted by the townies. I didn't like BMX. I didn't listen to metal like the BMX kids did. For a long time, it was me, my skateboard, anime, and eventually my guitar. Of course, like I said, I wasn't alone forever. I ended up moving next to this guy named Jared, and his whole family was into anime and video games. I mean, their PlayStation and VHS collection was out of this world. And that's really when I took my next step into anime. That's when I found movies like Ninja Scroll and Fist of the North Star and the uncut DBZ films. And that's when I realized just how badass anime could actually be. I was 11 and I wanted to see tiggles and blood, dude. You see, there was a lot going on in the world and at home at the time. 9/11 was still extremely fresh. We were at war against terrorism, which even then, I was like, how are you gonna fight something that anybody can do at any time, anywhere? That's just dumb, dude. The Bush years were a dark time for America, and because punk is political by nature, the lyrics that were being put out in songs at the time got dark and frustrated as well as time went on. Around the time that Yu Yu Hakusho started airing, I began to see anime kind of as an anti-American thing. And not in a bad way or a hateful way, but just in the way that they were putting out ideas that were very un-American, or at least a very different message than you would see in American television. These shows came from people with very different ideas about the world than Americans. It was offensive to many Americans, and honestly, it scared the out of a lot of Americans. When we talk about, X anime scaring your mom, blah, 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 like that comes from a real place. Like we lived through that. As anime became more popular, the backlash grew stronger. And even though a bunch of ignorant morons got mad at us over our Afro Samurai video, we were on the money. The producer of that show watched the video and then left us a comment explaining that the creator of Afro Samurai based the main villain off of George W. Bush. So eventually, when I was 12, this kid Jamie moved to town, right? And we had all the same interests. He liked anime, and his older sister was like the weebiest weeb. I mean, she was like pre-weeb. And we skateboarded, and we watched anime, and we listened to the same music. So obviously we formed a band. But Jamie and I are different people, and he was able to fit in better with other groups as well. He got along with the BMXers, and he enjoyed metal, while I staunchly stood by the if it's not punk, it's not cool attitude. And that was an attitude that I took with me for a long time, and it's part of the reason that I hated Naruto as much as I did when it came out. It just seemed so mainstream and cringe, and I know that that's hypocritical considering how hard I rode the DBZ train, but that's the difference between being a kid and an adult. You see, when you're young and you're weird and you're in the punk scene, you wear your weirdness like an armor. The less cool you are, the cooler you are. It's an atmosphere where young people can get together and feel proud of themselves, no matter how they may appear to other people. And for me, it was also kind of like a history lesson. Instead of listening to music that was coming out at the time, I was going back. I was listening to bands from the early 90s, the 80s, the late 70s, and I did the same thing with anime as well. And honestly, that's how I missed out on the actual big three as they were airing. I didn't watch Bleach, I didn't watch One Piece, and I didn't watch Naruto until later in life. It also didn't help that I ended up homeless. When I became homeless, that's when my finger flew right the fuck off the pulse. I was still rocking, remember, I was gonna be a rock star, and I was good at it too. I was really, really good at it, but circumstances, and especially that job that I talked about in our last video, the one that I was working crazy hours all day, every day, that really put the nail in the coffin. And by the time I was 23, I was farther from being a rock star than I had ever been in my life. And then of course I come back to society and I find out that everything that I was ridiculed for my entire life is now cool. Disney bought Marvel and they're making box office smash hits about Iron Man of all things. In 2002, if you asked somebody who Iron Man was, they would have told you it was a bodybuilder. It was ludicrous. It was so strange. And what did it mean for me and my personal identity? You know what I mean? Like, not only now was everything that I liked cool, that made me hip, and that's like the worst thing you can be. So I was 23, back in the world. College wasn't doing it for me. I tried to sell out and get a degree in programming for the money, but I'm really bad at math, so it was just no go, man. I didn't know what to do, but I needed something, so I started meditating. I actually literally went down to the local Zendo once a week and sat for a couple hours with people in complete silence, staring at a wall. I mean, what else was I supposed to do? I was in total shambles. I wasn't punk enough to die young. I wasn't dedicated enough to selling out to actually get a degree. I was fucked. So I started thinking, I realized that music is just talking with a melody and instrumentals in the background. And I can still talk without a band. I mean, I can talk forever. You just check out our podcast. I just talk and talk, man. At the time, I was really big into YouTube, especially into the retro gaming scene. So At one point, my girlfriend decided that she wanted to start a Let's Play channel with me, and I thought it would be a really good opportunity to do some avant-garde. Unfortunately, her college schedule got in the way of her being able to participate as much as she wanted to. So what I ended up doing is I started writing videos. I thought that I could bring my own particular flavor into the retro gaming world and make a big splash, and long story short, it didn't work. But I did get really good at writing and editing, and that's how I landed a job with Tree Skull, where obviously I met Tyler. And honestly, the funny thing is, when I got back into society, one of the first things that I did was buy Crunchyroll, and at that time when I was working with Tree Skull, I was watching a ton of anime, and in fact, I put out a couple of videos on Tree Skull about anime that did really, really well, and that coupled with a couple of videos that Tyler put out regarding anime and their success resulted in the formation of Bonsai Pop in 2019 and our eventual separation from Tree Skull in 2020. Originally starting out on this platform, I wanted to be the edgiest edge man. I wanted to be edgy as dude. That was the kind of humor that I liked. That's the kind of humor that I grew up with. That's the kind of humor that my friends and I had together. And when I started on YouTube, it was allowed.
Looks like two green hairy testicles.
But it didn't really catch everybody. Not everybody wants somebody in their face all the time. And it wasn't being mean like Leafy was at the time. I was just making crude jokes. But now it's a new era. We've been slowly adjusting to YouTube's new draconian rules, though it has been difficult. And despite how suffocating YouTube is sometimes, I have also grown up along the way. At some point, the idea of punk or get the fuck out just kind of disappeared. Honestly, of all things, ironically, I think it was watching Naruto that really did that. It really changed the way that I looked at the world, and it made me realize that just because something is popular doesn't mean that it's bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, some things that are popular are absolute garbage, and they're popular because it's created for, like the most basic human beings in the world, but Naruto was really, really good. Naruto has the spirit, so I started branching out and looking for other things that also had the spirit. I started looking into hip hop and rap and jazz and synthwave and finding all of these things that still had that kind of idea of, oh, we're gonna do something different, we're gonna make a change. And it was definitely for the better. It's much better to use the idea of being different, not to alienate, but instead to bring people together, to expand horizons and to celebrate. And when we started Bonsai Pop, we very quickly made a mental manifesto. We decided that we were going to be unapologetically us. We were never going to cow to the majority. We were going to be very, very selective about any sponsors that we took, if we took any at all. We're going to treat our viewers like they are intelligent people who deserve respect, and along the way form a tight-knit community of like-minded people. People who really get that, people who want to be a part of that. We aren't out here to be the biggest channel of all time. We aren't out here to be the biggest anime channel of all time. We want to be real and raw, and most importantly, we want to be people on a platform full of dancing monkeys. And most importantly, we wanted to be DIY. After watching our channel with almost 1 million subscribers crumble to the ground, Tyler and I decided that we were never, ever going to trust YouTube, put our faith in it again, especially not when it comes to money. And that's what it comes down to. We don't work for YouTube, we work for you. So the second we started the channel, we started a Patreon in order to become self-funded. We have turned down thousands of dollars in sponsorships just to make sure that we continue to keep the trust that we've grown with you guys over these past 2 years. And instead of making cheap, easy cash, we work to make our Patreon something worth your time and worth your money. We cover non-trending anime, sometimes things that nobody has even heard of, because we love it and we hope that one day you will love it as well. We want to share it with you because anime is punk rock cartoons. Now, we have an older audience by majority, and I know that most of you probably went through hell in high school just because you liked anime. And honestly, I think that's pretty badass. That's what it is. That's what that spirit is that I was talking about earlier. It's being unapologetically you, no matter what. And it turns out that anime comes from the same idea. When I finally really dove into manga, which ironically was right after I said that we were never going to cover any manga on this channel.
Speaking of which, we are not going to be going into manga a ton on Bonsai Pop. If it's pertinent to a subject, of course, we're going to cover what's necessary, but we're here to talk about anime specifically, which is ostensibly its own thing.
I learned that many of the creators of my favorite series were very similar to me. Most of them even listen to the same music that I listen to all the way over on the other side of the world and let that music inspire their creations. While different than America, Japan still has a very oppressive conformist society, and in order to live an alternative lifestyle, to do something different that isn't an office job, you have to work to prove to the world that you can draw comics and still be worth something. You have to go all in, you have to be unapologetic, and you got to do what you're going to do because you want to do it and stand by it. You have to prove that work is work and that entertainment can still be educational, enlightening, or even life-changing for some people who are able to witness it. And hopefully that some of those people will take up the mantle in the future and go and benefit society in their own special way. Because contrary to popular belief, society doesn't benefit from tradition. Instead, it benefits from change. People who live alternative lifestyles show the world a different way that life can be lived. It's the people who tell stories differently, who make music differently, that change the way that those mediums are perceived. And anime isn't just superheroes or, post-apocalyptic martial arts masters. It's literally anything and everything. But it has that little twist that makes you think twice, sometimes more than that, sometimes not at all, but that's the beauty of it. In the same way that Louis Armstrong, Elvis, the Sex Pistols, and Run DMC changed music, and Wassily Kandinsky and Andy Warhol changed the way that we looked at art, Miyazaki, Watanabe, Kon, and Kawajiri have changed the way that we look at animation. Manga artists like Toriyama, Clamp, and Togashi-san, as well as Japanese pop artists like Amano, have changed the landscape of art and video games and comic books. And if you look at any of these people, they are very, very weird. However, it's the expression of that weirdness that creates these monumental changes. See, when you're young and you're weird and you feel like nobody gets you, it kind of is about the mohawk and the tattoos and the piercings and the aggression. It's a big, obvious outward middle finger to the world for making you somebody who thinks differently or sees things differently for whatever reason. But when you get older, you can use that weirdness as fuel to make something amazing. And it's from little Japanese kids that didn't quite fit into school that we got amazing pieces of work, masterpieces like One Piece, Dorohedoro, and March Comes In Like a Lion. And that's why I've always held on to this idea that anime is punk rock cartoons, because that's where it comes from. It comes from that attitude, it comes from the ideals, it comes from the spirit of doing things differently, of doing things your own way, of making something new.
What do you hate the most in the world?
How people hate each other for no reason.
Just like not liking someone because they're black or Mexican or whatever. People are people.
I mean, I might look intimidating to other people just because my hairdo or the way I dress or whatever. But you know what? You don't know who I am.
So now with all of that explained, where does that leave us? Where does that leave Bonsai Pop? Well, Tyler and I have been making weekly content for the past 2 years for two reasons. The first reason is because that's what we've always done for the past 5-6 years on YouTube, is we've done weekly content. And the second reason is out of fear. YouTube demands a rigorous upload schedule. In fact, they want you to put out content every single day. Maybe you've noticed what Donkey's been doing lately with his I'm not going to make good videos anymore. Well, his views have gone through the flippin' roof since he started doing that. He was doing it satirically to make a point that what YouTube expects of us is garbage. They want us to make the kind of throwaway content that you see on TikTok. Not that TikTok is necessarily trash. I know there's a lot of good educational stuff on there, but the point is that we can't do that.
Dude's poster fell off. Dude's stupid, man.
I'm unhappy. I don't feel like I'm making the kind of videos that I want to make. I want to make bigger videos. I want to make better videos. And I don't want to have to cut things out of my script because we don't have time to do it in a week. You know, there's a reason we make 15 to 20 minute videos, and that's because that is the maximum amount that Tyler and I can do from Monday to Friday. So we're done with that. Tyler and I are going to take as long as we need to make the best videos that we possibly can. I don't want to walk away from a video again feeling like I missed something, or have somebody in the comments bring up something that I really wanted to talk about and give me crap about it because, I just didn't have time that week. So whether a video is going to be 20 minutes long or an hour and a half, we're going to be putting our absolute best into it. So think of 2021 as our junior album, right? Freshman album, you cement yourself. Sophomore album, you refine yourself. Junior album, you go out and you do something weird. And that's what we're doing this year in 2021. And I'm super sick of YouTube's attitude. So I mentioned earlier that we have a surprise for you. Well, we came out with a brand new hoodie design. We used the money from the merch that we made earlier in the year to pay one of our patrons, Spider-Man. His information will be in the description below, to help us create some art for this new hoodie. It's inspired by the Circle Jerks. It has Papu on the back, skanking, and then on the front, it has our own personal rendition of the old hardcore logos that you may have seen back in the 2000s. But instead of like, MAHC, it says YTBP across the X, and it's wrapped in an Enzo, which is the Zen Buddhist symbol of the mind being free to create. However, with all this news, we are going to need your help. We're putting all of our cards out on the table here, and these decisions could easily kill the channel. We start putting out bigger, better, longer videos less frequently, and you miss one video, and YouTube might never tell you about us again. Then you forget about Bonsai Pop, and you're gone. And if you think that won't happen, it happens all the time. We have 177,000 subscribers. After the summer, when we were suppressed by the algorithm, where did half of them go? So Tyler and I would like to humbly ask you to please join our Patreon. Our views are going to drop substantially while we are creating this new, bigger, better content. We also need to survive while we are making these videos. It's likely that the first couple videos aren't going to get the kind of views that are going to pay any kind of bills. Notifications on YouTube are dodgy at best, so I would say follow us on Twitter or Instagram because we do notify people when we upload, but if you're part of the Patreon, you're gonna know. We also want to introduce you to our amazing Discord family. It is a place where many like-minded people have gotten together. People have fallen in love and gotten in relationships. People have become such good friends that they've crossed state borders, country borders to spend time with each other. It is an amazing place where people bring all kinds of art and music and ideas and just pool it all in this one place with all these amazing people. And of course, it's all centered around anime, and this kind of group, this kind of family, you're not going to find it anywhere else.
Hello, Tyler and Mike. Wally here. As so many here, I wanted to say thank you. I found the Bonsai Pop channel in a really stressful time, and you two showed me the world of anime again from a different light, and showed me how much it can help when you are in trouble. When I found the channel back in 2019, I fell in love with your content and also decided to join the Patreon and got to the Discord, where I was welcomed by you and the whole community, very warm, lovely and kindly. And the Discord became a happy place for me within the months I've been in there. The love and appreciation you two put in your channel and the Patreon is really rubbing off on the whole community, and you can see it. We support each other whenever needed. We support you whenever you need it. And yeah.
So please consider joining our Patreon. All it costs is $4 a month, with increasing benefits as the tiers rise. Lastly, we are not going to be uploading in January. We're going to be taking this month to spend time with our patrons, because over the last 3 months, we have been so busy with putting out video after video after video that we haven't been able to give them the TLC that we enjoy giving them. So of course that means extra podcasts, extra viewing parties, and honestly, on top of that, I just need to watch some goddamn anime. I mean, do you think that I watched something like Bleach in 1 week? No, I gotta recharge. Tyler needs to recharge. But yeah, big changes, big things are coming out, and we need your help. We're just being honest. You know, if you can't commit to the Patreon, we have hoodies out there for you. We got disc plates out there for you. We just want to do the best that we possibly can. And under these strict time budgets, we just can't do it. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to us. So 2021, it's going to be a big year for Bonsai Pop. It's going to be a big year for classic anime fans. It's going to be a big year for people who are excited about some stuff that are coming out. Make sure that your notifications are on so you do know when we upload. And again, like I said, if you can't join the Patreon, follow us on Twitter or Instagram, because we will notify you personally when we put out new videos. Thank you so much for all your support this year. It means the world to us. And my name is Mike. This is Bonsai Pop. Thanks for watching.